I don't know how long, to be honest.
We had like it was an 18-month bear market. I mean, we had a long bear market. So we got I see no problem with another 12 months. Although I'd like to see it be only 6 months.
Yeah, I just don't think we can do another, I don't think we could do the same amount of bear market time, right? I think it's, instead of 18 months again, we have to be running 10 months or 8 months. So,
no. I could see it 12 months. That would make sense. At least 12.
But where would you say, where do you say...
Gets people worked up.
But where would you say we broke the bear market the last time? I mean, it's not necessarily from where we turned from the bottom. It's when we started to actually have some real positive momentum. We didn't have to make an ATH for us to be in a bull market, right? So what's the criteria?
The criteria is not allowing. So, for instance, there's a guy in the box that says Bitcoin is overvalued if it's more expensive than Beanie Babies. But he doesn't actually believe that. What it is he wants to buy it at $2,500. You can't allow pieces of shit like him a chance to buy it again at $2,500.
You're getting trolled. You're getting trolled.
I would say it's where we see that first initial momentum spike, that first initial push in volume. Then we kind of see the price come back down and we gain that support level, and then we see the other little uptick in volume, and that's our break. Now we're in bull mode.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that once we passed the highs of June, what was it, June 2016, and we started to get we started to push 700, 800, 900 in around Christmas time of 2016. That in my mind was that was a clear that we were on the rise. So yeah, I guess maybe the fall of 2016. So it was 18 months, 18-month bear market. More.
That big spike to 500 that happened a day was the first warning shot, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, and then it became pretty obvious.
So PGP, is it next week that Tether's going to be back to gold?
What?
I heard they're going to be backing Tether by gold. T-Gold Classic? No? Oh, I thought it was a fork of Tether. Okay.
Yeah, when Tether Cash, Satoshi's True Vision.
I thought it was PGP's True Vision.
Right. So if I could make Tether ride on top of Lightning.
We have now DAI coin, which is a stable coin backed by crypto. So that's the vision.
Well, but I want to do an
whatever. I'll believe that when I actually see it work and scale. There's a lot of people out there with alternatives to Tether, and God bless everybody trying to do it differently, and everybody's really critical of Tether, but it's still hands down the only game in town. Where are all these other stablecoins? People keep talking about them, but they launch. The adoption is basically nil. Nobody uses them.
You have to look.
I don't think nobody will use Circle and Bitmain's USDC backed 1-for-1 legal dollar crypto, but that's just me.
How are they going to use it? It's just a way to oh, here, we did an OTC trade. I'm actually sending you money to your bank account. I'm going to give you a marker. It's all it is a
people with billions of dollars feel warm and fuzzy at night with the people that they're doing business with.
Whatever. The point of a stablecoin is something that people actually use and is in circulation.
You say whatever, but nobody with $1 billion net worth is going to use fucking Tether that didn't get it from Bitcoin, and that isn't a cypherpunk.
Well, dirty. Dude, as usual, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
that's why he was completely silent with the USDC owning his fucking business.
What?
So if we have a problem that develops with a dollar, wouldn't Tether be at risk at that time?
Okay, let's keep it civil.
I can promise you, very well-heeled large institutions have used Tether. simply works. You think all these people that are doing all this arbitrage around the world, the fact that 20 exchanges around the world you have tether pairs, and you think that nobody touches it, that the big trading desks and big prop shops on Wall Street that are in crypto, you don't think that you think they don't touch tether? Come on.
Like, if I understand Tether correctly, I think the incentives for the holding of the collateral and everything are fairly well balanced, so you should actually be able to have some kind of small inkling of trust in it, at least. Just a little bit.
As long as you have trust in the dollar.
I mean,
well, hey, it's one of the best performing coins today. So.
Wait for qualified counterparties that sign NDAs. They've all seen the books. They've all seen what there is to see. All the money's there, and and the product works, and it continues to work. Despite what people will say. And I think that the algorithmic, sort of stablecoin concepts, while I think are interesting experiments, I just don't see how those will actually work in the long run. And ones that are backed by crypto, well, we saw that with BitUSD, and that didn't really work out so well.
So your stablecoin is the only one that will ever work, right?
Well, see, I have kind of some reservations that the stability, that the actual incentives may malleate after time, right? I don't know. We don't have that level of transparency into those incentive structures, I think, to make sure that you can say this probably works all of the time, right? So I mean, that's where my reservations are. I think the way I would conceptualize it should be fine, and it's probably one of the only ways you could actually do it effectively.
Yeah. I mean, I think that any stablecoin out there has to be backed. So whether it's Tether or somebody comes along and does Tether better, but basically the same thing, maybe a bank decides to get involved in that business and actually issue their own version of Tether or something like that. Yeah, you could see people do that. I mean, certainly Circle's trying to do that. Bitmain apparently is doing that. But the real trick is actually creating that ecosystem amongst exchanges where everybody's using that as the default pair. And it's going to be. I just think it's going to be really hard to displace Tether because it's already there. And unless all exchanges together hold hands and change it overnight, it's going to be very, very, very difficult for any new entrant to actually take place of Tether.
I mean, what do you think of Bittrex, the USDC?
To be perfectly honest, I don't see nothing wrong with Tether. Tether itself, the technology. I think the valid and legit criticisms are revolving the management and the disclosure part of it, how it was disclosed, its creation, and it's the accounting of the funds. So to me, those are different aspects.
I agree that could be handled better, but all I can say is that money's there. I promise you that. And we're constantly looking for solutions to make that more transparent. It's not that easy. There's so much negativity surrounding it that nobody wants to touch it. Auditors don't want to work with us. Other people, it's just, I don't know quite what to say about it. I mean, it's like Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Everybody looking at it actually affects the system. But the money's there. The biggest risk I see with Tether is maybe regulatory. We think we're on solid ground, but there could be, regulators could try to shut it down. But I don't see there being. There's nothing fraudulent happening. That's for sure.
So, are there people being paid to take hits at Tether and Bittrex?
Say that again?
Are there people being paid to take hits and defame Tether and Bittrex?
I have no idea.
Because it seems like...
It certainly feels that way.
Well, I was talking a little bit earlier today about consolidation in the exchange space. There hasn't been a lot of exchange mergers or acquisitions like what happened in the early days of stock and commodities trading in the States in 1890s, 1900s. We should be seeing a stage of exchanges acquiring each other, but it's not happening. And perhaps the reason is why there isn't a lot of synergies in actually acquiring coin exchanges when you could just list the same coin, and actually, multiple customers can
What are you talking
easily have
about?
exchanges.
Poloniex just got bought, and Bitstamp just got bought.
And the other thing is, you don't know it, but most of the exchanges belong to the same people. They're just under shell companies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna
There's
be
already massive consolidation in the exchange world.
I just want to address this question here about regular audits. This is not for lack of trying, and I just like to point out, if you think that auditors take any client, they don't. They don't want to take customers that they feel like there's too much public attention on. It's asymmetric risk for them. They make some fees, and then they have the potential downside of somehow they're being associated with the brand. So yeah, ideally there'd be regular audits. There are other solutions being worked on to provide accountability, but it is if you know anything about the auditing process and procedures, it's not a simple matter just to dial up an audit. If there was a reputable auditing firm that wanted to come and audit Tether, it would have happened already.
And one more thing is, one more question I have is, at the beginning, the concept that every single Tether was backed by a US dollar was very firmly stated, but now that is not so clear. Has there been Tether bought with other cryptos instead of US dollar at any point?
No, it is 100% backed by US dollars on deposit in a bank. Period. End of story. Nothing more, nothing less.
Is there a limited max supply of Tether to protect it from an inflating dollar or deflating dollar?
It's irrelevant. Each Tether is backed by $1. So whether or not there's inflation or not is kind of...
What if the dollar's not worth what it used to be?
Well, then your Tether's worth less. I mean, a Tether is a surrogate, is a replacement surrogate for $1. I mean, that's what it is.
But I guess back to the question I was going to ask, is there actually any synergy of one exchange buying another exchange?
I don't think so, actually, because you actually get a negative synergy because you have the same customers. What are you going to merge your operations? A lot of these exchanges have customers. A lot of the customers are customers of multiple exchanges because they do arbitrage, they trade between places. You merge exchanges, a lot of that volume goes away.
Yeah, so that then begs the question: what do you do if you're an exchange and you have money and you want to consolidate and want to get more market share? What you would do is fake your own sort of appeal by pumping up volume with wash trading.
Can anybody withdraw USD from Tether? Can I take my Tether and get US dollars ever?
If you're an institutional customer, you can. Otherwise, you can just deposit them at Bittrex and withdraw dollars there.
Even as an American?
No, not as American. Americans are excluded from this.
But then it would make sense to attack other exchanges' reputability and trust, and then sort of build your own trust. It's really the only way that you can gain market share as an exchange, right?
That's basically the game. Yeah, you try to offer something different than your competitors, either better prices, better technology, focusing on different specific national markets.
You can
higher fees.
You can also trade dollar for Tether on Kraken.
Yes, you can trade dollars for Kraken at Kraken, and you can trade Tether for Bitcoin anywhere and take those Bitcoins and sell them. I mean, it's Tether is fully fungible. All over the place. I mean, the turnover on Tether on a daily basis, you can see in the figures, it's like $2.5 trillion turnover, $2.5 billion turnover every day. It's probably one of the most highly used cryptos out there.
Yeah, the volume's higher than the market cap.
What's interesting is that the market cap of Tether is not that high when you think about how much the amount of monetary velocity that's associated with Tether is really extraordinary. And it drives the engine of arbitrage across, like I said, like 20 different exchanges. And that's a big deal. So you don't need that much money in there to keep that to kind of grease those wheels. But the amount of turnover is quite staggering.
Yeah, but some guy on Twitter wrote that everything you just said is all false because something or other.
Yeah, whatever.
Be interesting to know who actually is saying that. I really don't like this kind of anonymous commentary.
Well, we're not mentioning the person that's been trolling for like a year that Tether doesn't work when it works.
Oh, you mean Atlas Rand?
Other people, yeah.
Whatever. You know what? At the end of the day, time will tell. You know, if my claims are all bullshit and if it's fraud, then it will be exposed as such, and people will go to jail. Or the other side of it is that it is, you know, I mean, the truth is actually pretty prosaic. The money's there. Yes. Could it be run more transparently? Sure. Are there challenges to that? I.e., you can't get a reputable auditor to audit the firm at all. Well, that's a real challenge. And why is that? Well, it's because of all this negative publicity that's surrounding it. Now, are we not that good at PR? Yes, that's also true. You know, there's other things, there are other deficiencies to the product. It grew very, very quickly. You know, everybody's still playing catch up.
Great at doing PR for trying to get block producers on EOS.
Yeah. Fine.
Actually, we could use another Tether print now.
You are fighting against a 100-year-old entity.
One thing that
hadn't had a threat.
One thing that I say every time is all the tether that was generated, just a few was burned. So all that tether is waiting for the big buy. So just to tell you.
Hey PGP, it's good to hear your voice again. I'm glad you're back around. I hope you're back around more often. And I was just wondering if you can, if you're allowed to talk about what the subpoena was about.
I can't talk about anything like that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. Can you adjust any of the FUD that we've heard in the last 2 months about Bittrex?
Well, the one thing the one comment I'll make is that I would ask you to put your, you know, think reasonably about this. If in fact there were subpoenas issued on December 6th, as been apparently reported, if that was true, Tether has gone on to create some 2 billion Tether since that date. How on earth would that possibly happen if, in fact, on December 6th, the CFTC did, in fact, come knocking on their door? You know, that doesn't make, it's been 6 months. You know, you think that if there was such a blatant fraud and manipulation and money wasn't there and it was fake and whatever, it just seems to me that a regulatory agency would be on kind of, you know.
Yeah, it seems to me, and this is just my own guess, that the subpoena was about customer KYC info.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure what the CFTC would have anything to do with that, but yeah, I mean, I just think people just need to think logically about what's going on, and just think about the concept, you know, the apparent facts that people think that they have, and just put 2 and 2 together.
I agree.
But anyway, like I said, good to hear your voice, and hopefully you're around more often.
I'll try to be here more often in the future. Question: why does Coinbase Pro exist? I'm not sure I understand the question. I mean,
well, simple question. Do you have anything to do with 400,000 euros seized in a Polish bank linked to the Coke cartel, blah, blah? I mean, that's...
Oh, for God's sakes. For God's sakes. Please. That's ridiculous.
The answer is probably not, and there you go. Yeah, so you either believe like most extreme conspiracy, or you just use the shit and don't care really because it works. Look, it's pretty simple. It's either a big old conspiracy and you can walk away and not use it, or it's not necessarily that and you can just use it. Like, it's pretty.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Like I said, I think that the biggest risk to Tether is regulatory. Is basically because it doesn't really fit into any real bucket in terms of regulatory oversight, and that's true, and we acknowledge that. But it's not like we're not doing homework. It's a carefully considered product. We believe that it works. And there's nothing fraudulent happening, and there's no KYC violations or anything like that. You have to be completely KYC to even buy or sell Tether. Back when we used to deal with the retail public, don't even do that anymore. So, it's a pretty clean product, and it just like I said, it works. It's simple. We wish that there'd be auditors out there that would be willing to audit it, but that'll happen in time, I suspect.
So you said that like major corporations, like a trading desk or something, they've signed NDAs, you've showed them the documents, and they haven't called the police, right? I mean, that sounds pretty legit. Like, somebody didn't call the police on you. Like, that sounds legit to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, there have been numerous people that have signed NDAs, and we've showed them everything that there is to see, show them how the money works, show them how a large Tether creation can happen in the first place. Walk them through the banking arrangements. Yeah, we've done that with lots of people. I mean, you have to ask yourself a question like, well, how is it that people are still comfortable with using Tether? Large institute, why would large exchanges, use Tether? I mean, especially like Bittrex based in the U.S., Circle based in the U.S., now they own Poloniex. Yeah, sure, they're creating their own coin, but they're still trading USDT pairs. Why are they not smoking their own their own stash right now? Why are those pairs not USDC pairs? Why?
Because it takes time to get actual regulated one-for-one backed dollars that the U.S. government actually approves, and that's what they're doing. So
yeah, no, nobody's approving. What government? No. What government agency is approving?
They're going through the Treasury Department.
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
I don't think so. The SEC has nothing to do. SEC has not.
Going through every organization and alphabet agency there
Dude,
is PGP.
Sure they are, but you don't understand
that actually like to follow the laws and play by the rules and go through organizations that control all the different mechanisms.
It's a square peg round hole for a stable coin. People don't know. It's basically like corporate IOU. That's what it is. But it's non-interest bearing. It's not a security. We have plenty of it's just not a security. Okay. So what is it? And but the point is that people are creating stable coins. True USD, they got a product. And from what I understand, I mean, Circle's got a product, but they're not. They haven't changed their trading pairs yet. The reason why is because then their trading pairs are not fungible. Because then they'll lose all the volume that they have in those pairs because people can't arb with other exchanges. There's reasons for these things, and I think that there is no regulator, okay, that is going to where you could go up to them and say, I want to do this. Can I offer this dollar surrogate product? No one's going to tell you yes. Now there are different strategies you can employ, like getting a banking license and doing it that way. And by the way, that's also something that Tether's looked at very carefully as well. But it's it's not a simple matter.
Exactly. Edward666 has proven my point. He says neither is Tether. Okay, so, Amazon gift cards are not backed by a currency. Read the fine print. Neither is Tether. Well, USDC actually will be backed by USDC and recognized by banks and all the organizations that actually regulate its existence and flow as such. That's
the market. The market.
Oh, it's unclear that they're going to be successful with that. You know, getting other banks and other people to recognize USDC, that's a tall order. That's a tall order.
Yeah,
I think stable coins are going to remain a relatively niche product, which are going to remain in the domain of crypto traders for some time to come.
I'll bet you money, PGP, that USDC will be on Fidelity's brokerage and Coinbase's before Tether.
Why? They have dollar banking already.
For every reason.
No. You don't. Then you miss the whole purpose of the stablecoin.
No, you missed the whole purpose of it.
Oh, that's right. Of course. Of course, I'm the clueless one. The guy who's actually in the business.
No, your mom's gay.
Fraudulently.
Oh, yours.
Yeah.
Hey, both your moms are gay because they're lesbians. Oh!
I've mod of the moment, Marty. Congratulations.
Thank you, Brox. You made it possible.
2018.
I thank Brox.
I thank Marty. I only had it to piss you off.
I'm going to show you.
Let me know when I can withdraw Tether to my bank account.
The natural order is restored.
Actually, I think there are banks in Liechtenstein that accept Tether accounts.
That's not the US. I don't give a shit about Liechtenstein.
So one thing I do think that somebody like, so just realize Tether does not serve U.S. customers. So I think that Circle and others that are trying to do it in the U.S., are in fact doing what we're unwilling to do right now, which is going around and maybe getting state-by-state money transmission licenses, get a banking license or national bank charter or what have you, and that would open up the availability to be able to distribute USDT tokens to bind basically, or rather some type of stablecoin to U.S. customers directly, and that would be nice for U.S. customers, for sure. Tether doesn't service that market. So, sorry.
Changing the subject a bit on a more light note, PGP, are you legally allowed to trade in Bitfinex? Do you trade? Do you actively trade?
No. Yeah, I would say the extent of my trading over the last several years is extremely passive, occasional selling or buying, but usually through limit orders that have been sitting on the book for, in some cases, months, if not years.
So you mentioned that you had a policy at Finex where Finex employees are only allowed to trade when they don't use market orders.
We have a policy against active trading. That's all I can really say about that.
Nice. Wait. So now that I'm wrecked and I can't really trade, can I apply for Bitfinex for a job? Nice.
You can always apply.
I think he'd be great for Bitfinex.
Need to hire him.
Bitfinex.
Bitfinex.
Yeah, that was a slip
This is
there.
Marty.
That was a slip.
Freudian slip there, by.
I'm not Freudian at all.
Yeah,
I love
PGP.
Bitfinex.
PGP, hire me and I won't say anything.
That's funny.
Safe pair of hands, you know. I mean, it's obvious.
PGP, you're a good sport, man. Appreciate it.
Are there any plans for Bitfinex to move to Switzerland?
I'm feeling good about this.
I think the more active market for the purchase and sale of Bitfinex shares would be interesting.
Well, what are you liking, Flubber?
I'm liking the fact that there's just fucking people are taking out 0.2% a day BTC loans to short. Longs have come down loads. You know, I like it.
Yeah, setting up for get our flash crash eventually.
I mean, when I see people taking out BTC loans at 0.2% a day, oh yes, I like that.
Longs and shorts are going to cross soon, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
We have a bullish divergence on the 4-hour. I'm trying to see how many times that played out.
That's unconfirmed though, that bullish div. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I took a long though, yeah. FRR's moving up on BTC.
How is that calculated? I thought it was meant to update every hour.
What, FRR?
Yeah.
Oh, no idea.
It always seems way low compared to where the actual coins are at.
Oh, Tether is strong. Tether is strong. Tether is gaining ground on Neo.
Yeah, I mean, right now we've got USD rates coming down and BTC rates going up. I like that.
But it's at 0.02, not 0.2.
Yeah, but they're hitting 0.2. But the FRR, yeah, sure. $45 million on the funding book. Only like 30 kind of within reach. But if you get the USD FRR at about 0.04, 0.03, that's going to be good. Get USD FRR down, get BTC FRR up. I mean, the Phoenix has like right now about 650 mil lent out dollars. Like, I don't know, let me check the stats.